Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna devotee, is audio clear?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Gopi-Ranavallabha Shivarare Gopi-Ranavallabha Shivarare Yasharanandana Vachajanarandana Yasharanandana Vachajanarandana Yamunatira Vanachare Yamunatira Vanachare Jayadara Marapa Kandaviare Jayadara Marapa Kandaviare Gopi-Ranavallabha Shivarare Gopi-Ranavallabha Shivarare Yasharanandana Vachajanarandana Yasharanandana Vachajanarandana Yamunatira Nachare Yamunatira Nachare Jayaramarava Kandaviyare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Nityaganiva, Aniva, Aniva, Nityaganiva. Nitai Gaura Premanande, Srila Prabhupada King, Samavita Bhaktivinoda King, Gaura Premanande.
Hare Krishna, we are very fortunate to have with us Her Grace Devaki Mataji. Mataji is born in Germany in 58, and right from the childhood she was spiritual seeker, and later meeting the devotees of ISKCON, she joined Krishna consciousness movement, and in the initial years she was in Sydney, where she spent few years in the Sydney temple, and later 89 to 99 she started traveling to many of the places, especially in the Soviet Union. She was assisting in pioneering the first organized temple in Soviet Union, and after 99 onwards she started traveling to other parts, Europe and Canada, and now traveling to the USA and other places also. And after 99, when she started helping in the going to the Bangladesh and spending almost 5 months in India and Bangladesh and helping Bhakti Purushottam Maharaj in spreading the Krishna consciousness there. And that time Mataji says that she got to learn many of the Vaishnava culture from the Bangladesh and got to understand the real depth of it, and then that gave her the motivation to write. She has written almost around 5 books. So she has written those books, and she also conducts many retreats, Japa retreat, as well as many other courses on the Vaishnava culture, and guides many devotees. So we are very fortunate to have Mataji with us here. Let us express our gratitude by chanting Hare Krishna mantra once. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Also the class is being translated. ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಅನುವಾದ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಯಾರಿಗಾರು ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಕೇಳೋದಾದ್ರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹಿಂದ್ಗಡೆ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಅನುವಾದ ನಡೀತಾ ಇದೆ. ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ಹಿಂದ್ಗಡೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗಬಹುದು. ಹರೇ ಕೃಷ್ಣ.
Om Agyantimayandasya Gyananjalasalakaya Chakshunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Marupisam Sthapanamyena Bhutale Swayam Rupakaramayam Dadati Swavadantikam Namam Vishnupadakashabhasa Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Govani Pachoyne Nivishesha Shunyavadi Pasadari Satarine Vanshakapa Duvasa Kripa Sinubevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Pavanityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Srivasadi Go Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So first of all, let me express my great joy that I have the opportunity to visit you here again. It's been 6 years ago that I came last, before you had your beautiful temple established. And yeah, nice to see that your preaching is increasing and flourishing. Very wonderful. Yes, so today we have a topic-related morning class. The topic is Prajalpa. Prajalpa, it will destroy this movement. Actually, in the last ILS, 1.5 years ago, I gave that topic to the leaders in Mayapur. And yeah, it was quite popular. People wanted to find out, what is this all about? And the title, Prajalpa, it will destroy this movement, it is a statement from Prabhupada, but the way I understand it is not that it is a prediction that this will happen, but it is a warning that if we don't endeavor to control this tendency of talking Prajalpa, then it very well has the power to destroy this movement. And of course, we have all heard this many times, the detrimental effect of Prajalpa, and yet we don't realize how much of our daily talk falls into that category, right? Yes. And another interesting thing to remember is that the real dangers for ISKCON, for Lord Chaitanya Sankirtan movement, they don't come from outside, but they come from within. Yes. The attacks from outside usually unite the devotees in fighting, in preaching, you know. But the attacks from within, they are just so detrimental. And usually it is based on Prajalpa. So let us hope that today we will get some little insights. So I would like to go with you through one chapter of Bhaktivinoda Thakur's book, Bhakti-aloka. There he has one chapter on the 6 faults that destroy bhakti, and there is one chapter on Prajalpa. And he gives quite a list of different categories. And by briefly going through them, this at least makes us a little more mindful and conscious, because Prabhupada was always saying, before becoming Krishna conscious, we actually have to become conscious first, because we can be very unconscious, you know, which basically means tamaguna, you know, not being aware, mindful of the more subtle aspects of life and Krishna consciousness and all that. So to begin with, let us remember a few Shastric references. We have Nectar of Instruction, verse 2, Atyapaya Sasha Prajalpa Niyamagraha. So there we have it. The Prajalpa is one of the 6 impediments. So our devotional service is spoiled, Rupa Goswami says, when we become too entangled in talking unnecessarily about mundane subject matters. So of course we may think our talking is so necessary, but usually it's not, actually. Yes, and then we also have verse number 1, of course, Vajovega Manasa Kodavegam Jiva Vegamudo Pastavegam. So that verse again makes this point that we have to control the urges of the tongue. Tongue, belly, genitals are in one line. It always starts with the tongue. So, and the tongue, as we all know, has 2 functions, to eat and to talk. And in both aspects, we tend to overdo it, right? We tend to overeat, which is also one of the impediments, right? Yes. And we tend to talk too much nonsense, basically. Does everybody please switch off your mobile phones right now, please? Believe it or not, I live without a phone. I traveled the whole world and I don't have the quickest way to destroy this echo is Prajalpa. That switches on the mundane mind immediately, and echo is destroyed. Yes. Another interesting thing is when we eat, Krishna has made this arrangement that only 20 minutes after eating, we actually realize how full we are, right? So that adds a little more, another difficulty in controlling the tongue, because while we are eating, we think, oh yeah, I can have some more of this. And then 20 minutes after finishing, we realize, oh my God, I've eaten too much, right? Yeah, I'm sure we have all had this experience. So yeah, Krishna just builds in these little things there just to make it a little more difficult for us to control the tongue. Yes. So as we sometimes fast and don't eat, you know, there is interesting purports where Prabhupada says, we fasting on Ekadashis and the appearance and disappearance of the Lord just to get rid of the fat in the body. Prabhupada sometimes very blunt, you know. Yes. So no esoteric reasons why we are fasting. No, just to get rid of some fat in the body. Yeah, so fasting is sometimes helpful to control the tongue, and plus we save a lot of time, which we can use in hearing and chanting. And the same way on my holy name retreats I like to conduct, I usually call one day a Mauna Vrata day. Of course, in our seminar, we continue as usual, but no private talking. And you would not believe how difficult this is for people. Just one day, not to always talk. Oh, people forget, and I catch them, you know, yes, or I catch them on the phone. Yeah, I'm at the Holy Name Retreat in Echo Chakra, and we have a Manavrata day, and it's really cool, you know. Yeah, people just can't stop talking, you know. Yes. So anyway, it's very helpful on such retreats to just not talk for one day, just so we can be more introspective and reflect and look at our relationship with the holy name, where we are standing there, and yes, very, very helpful. Anyway, so now let me share a few little incidences with Srila Prabhupada. He was very strongly chastising devotees when they were talking Prajalpa. There's this nice book from Kurma Prabhu, The Transcendental Adventure, Prabhupada's pastimes in Australia and New Zealand. And there is this devotee, Upendra Das. He seems to have been famous for talking Prajalpa. So, and he was one day cooking in the kitchen, cooking lunch for Prabhupada. And Prabhupada's room was right next to the kitchen. It was in Melbourne. And just a whole bunch of devotees came back from India, from the Mayapur festival. So, and in those days, there was no internet, social media, WhatsApp, all this did not exist. So all the latest news were given by talking. So, and in the kitchen, there was all this talk going on. Oh, did you hear? And this happened, and that happened, and this devotee did this, and that devotee did that. And there was the whole commotion going on there. And Prabhupada heard it. And he was very angry, calling Upendra in his room. What are you doing? Are you talking Prajalpa? And Upendra said, is talking about other devotees Prajalpa, Srila Prabhupada? And Prabhupada said, yes, this devotee, that devotee, life is short. Don't waste your time. When two devotees meet, they should discuss Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, service to the Lord, and not just this devotee, that devotee. And he gave Upendra a whole 10-minute chastisement. And Upendra came back to the kitchen all devastated, being chastised by Prabhupada. And then another time in this book is another situation described where Prabhupada again was in his room. Again, Upendra was cooking. And again, all this Prajalpa happening in the kitchen. And again, Prabhupada called Upendra, chastising him. And that's when he said, Prajalpa, it will destroy this movement. That's when Prabhupada said that. Yes. Yes. And there's another funny little story. I think it was in America. That was when the telex machine came out. Telex. Yes, the young generation doesn't even remember that. Maybe the elderly people remember. Telex was the previous technology to fax. Even fax nobody is using anymore. So telex was before then. It was like the first technology where you could type in one message on one end and instantly it would come out in the other telex machine on the other end of the world. It was instantly. So that was the first technology we had like that. Actually, Prabhupada was communicating with mail, proper mail, not email, but snail mail. Or he was sending telegrams, and I'm not talking about the social media telegram, but the actual telegrams where every syllable counts and you write in all very unusual style just to keep the expense down. So that's how Prabhupada was communicating. So devotees were very excited, showing Prabhupada, look, Prabhupada, this latest technology. And Prabhupada was always very interested. Oh yeah, let's check it out. And then devotees were saying, maybe Prabhupada, every temple in the world should have such a telex machine. So, and what did Prabhupada say? No. If every temple in the world has a telex machine, you will talk Prajalpa all around the world. That was Prabhupada's comment. So at least without technology, the Prajalpa is limited to one room or one community. But with social media technology, all around the world, right? And we have that experience, you know. So much nonsense talk is magnified through internet and social media, you know. That's one reason why I don't have a phone. So I'm not active on all that. And yeah, that protects me from getting involved in all these Prajalpa, you know. Yes. Yeah, so I'm not sure what Prabhupada would say about Facebook and WhatsApp and all these things, you know, because there's another Prabhupada story. I think it was in Juhu, but I'm not quite sure. Prabhupada had just moved into his new quarters, and the devotees had put a phone line into Prabhupada's room. First time that Prabhupada had his own phone line. So, and what happened? First night, in the middle of the night, the phone rings. Oh, Hare Krishna Swamiji, how are you? You know, somebody from America forgot that there is a time difference, you know. So then the next morning, what did Prabhupada say? Take the phone line out of the room. No need for me, you know. He could immediately see this phone line is just trouble, you know. Yes, So I don't think Prabhupada would walk around with a mobile phone in the pocket. I don't think so. No. So much distractions. Okay. So now let's go to Bhaktivinoda Thakur's book, Bhaktiloka, the 6 faults that destroy bhakti. So first of all, let us understand, we will discover this morning that most types of prajalpa actually come from envy. Yeah. And that is another reason why prajalpa is so contaminating. Not only because of the mundane content, but because it stems from envy. And consciousness travels on sound vibration. We were discussing that yesterday in the Begur Center. Consciousness travels on sound. So if there's some envious talk coming out of our mouth, then that envy travels on the sound and contaminates. Hare Krishna. Anybody who has the phone ringing has to feed us with some sweets. That's the punishment. Yes. So the enviousness travels on the sound and contaminates everybody's heart. That's the second reason why prajalpa is so contaminated. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur starts his discussion by saying that today people are becoming more and more godless. So even in those days, that tendency was there. What to speak of nowadays, it has increased so much just in these 66 years where I'm in this body. My God, Kali Yuga has really advanced, strongly. So in any case, because people become more and more godless, therefore their talk is also godless. And godless talk is basically prajalpa. It's as simple as that, right? Yeah, and this godless talk creates a big impediment in our devotional development, right? So now the first category Prabhupada Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives is useless talk. And he includes in that category like any kind of novels and stories people may be reading, which are not connected with Krishna consciousness, just some mundane entertainment. And he also includes the world news. He says the newspaper, which is of course also outdated. Nobody reads the newspaper anymore. People just have it all on the phone and internet, right? But yeah, when we get too absorbed in the worldly news, this is prajalpa. said, it makes this world look so real. Yeah, it makes this world look so real. And this is indeed exactly what it does, because we have to understand there are two kinds of realities. There is what Prabhupada calls the nonsensical stage performance, life in the material world being like a nonsensical stage performance, or this crazy circus going on here, which will be all over at the moment of death, right? At the moment of death, curtain is closing, show is over, it's all finished. Very flickering reality. What we think in our conditioned stage to be reality is actually just a crazy circus. And it will be all finished at the moment of death. So that's that. But then there is eternal reality, which is my relationship with Krishna. That's actual reality. That's the only thing we're allowed to keep at the moment of death. Everything else is finished, right? So, and the process of Krishna consciousness is basically meant to transform our perception of reality. That's what it is. You know, we all start off thinking, here, my job, my studies, my family, this, that, that's reality. That's also important. We start off like that, but then as we seriously practice Krishna consciousness, we end up at the other end of the spectrum. My relationship with Krishna. That's actual reality. And everything else is just the crazy show here, right? So if we get so absorbed in studying up the news, the war here, the war there, who became president, this, that, you know, then that deepens our perception of life in the material world being actual reality. Huh? More difficult then to realize that it's all just a crazy circus. So that's why Prabhupada said, it makes this world look so real. Very profound, you know. So of course we may need to have some little knowledge of what's happening in the world, you know, depending on our position and our movement and our work and or me as a traveling preacher, I also have to know a little bit, can I go to Ukraine or maybe better not, you know, so I have to inform myself a little bit. But usually it's enough if we just look at the headlines, then we know enough. Okay, this war is still going, okay, that thing is still happening, okay, finished, 10, 15 minutes should be enough, you know. So no need to spend hours or studying up what is this website saying and that website and that. Yeah, so that's the first category of Prajalpa. Next one is arguments. Simply quarreling, arguing. Family life offers a lot of opportunities for that. Who is right, who is wrong, just see, I told you, didn't I, and all these kind of things. Just petty, stupid arguments over unimportant things, right? And that creates so much negativity, so much misunderstanding and tension in our relationships. And it comes from envy, because we want to prove that we are right, that we are better, that we are superior, and. So that's envy. Yes, let's be clear on that, you know. So devotees should not get involved in this. It's just a useless waste of time. I'm always recommending the ladies, when your husband, gets all angry and he carries on and on and on, just tolerate it. Don't answer back. How long will he argue by himself? Arguing is not much fun if the other person doesn't respond. So if the other person is quiet, like tolerating a thunderstorm, all right, we know sooner or later it will blow over. No need to, fight all against the thunder there. So let's just go in hiding and wait until it's over. And often the men say, yeah, I'm doing the same thing with my wife. If she carries on, I just let her talk, I don't respond, and then how long can she go on, So good tip for married life, Okay, next category is gossip. Simply talking without reason about other people, discussing their faults, their character. If we talk nice things about other people, of course, there is no limit to that. That doesn't fall into Prajalpa, glorifying devotees' services and qualities. But usually we like to talk about all the bad things, Yes, yes. And again, what's behind it? Envy, of course. We try to reduce other people's position and importance and establish ourselves in a superior position simply by talking. Yes, see, usually I only stay 1 week in one community, and this is perfect. Then you see everybody as great saintly personality. You don't stay long enough to hear all kinds of gossip and politics and this and that. You move to the next place. So, but during pandemic, I got stuck in Europe, which was not so bad. I could still travel, but just at a little slower pace, 3, 4, 5 weeks in one place. But yeah, then I realized, oh my God, so much gossip happening. And it usually goes in circles. One person says something about one person, and then it goes on and on and on. Everybody adds and subtracts something. So then it comes back to the person where it started. And then what? I didn't say that. Why did you say this? And then the whole thing takes another circle, and like that it goes around and around. My God. Yes. Thank God, usually I'm protected from this. But yeah, we have to be very careful, So, of course, some people may have to talk about somebody. So, if we are in a position of guru, diksha guru, shiksha guru, or counselor, or department head, then maybe we have to talk to other people in that category in a well-wishing mood, how to help that person with their shortcomings and problems and that. So that's a different thing, That's like in a hospital, the doctors and the nurses discussing the patient's condition, But usually, even if we are in such a leading position, it does not give us the right to talk to other people who are not in such a leading position about somebody. Very easily we do this. We think, oh, I'm a department head. I can just talk about other people, but no, only to those who are in that similar category. See, it's very similar like in medical fields. I come from medical background. So the doctors, nurses are not allowed to give any information about a patient's condition, right? To anybody except the near family members, But it doesn't mean the doctors and nurses can't talk about the patients, Of course they have to, So very same thing. I mean, Prabhupada even said, ISKCON is like a hospital. So same thing is there also. And I was observing how difficult it is getting for devotees to keep things confidential. This is such an important thing, especially in regards to counselor, mentorship. You know, that when somebody opens our heart to us and we are serving as a mentor, we have to keep this confidential. We can't blabber things around to our friends. But people don't keep things confidential these days. And that's why everybody's fearful to open their heart and share their innermost struggles and fears, because they're afraid everybody will know it and people will use it against them. And. So I was trying to understand, why is it so difficult for people to keep things confidential? And I realized it goes back to the false ego, our constant companion and troublemaker, because we try and use some information we have in order to show off that we know this and others don't, right? That we say, oh, have you heard? Do you know? Oh, really? You don't know? She didn't tell you? Well, she told me. And I'm going to be the special person who tells you. But it's confidential. Don't tell anybody, you know? And then that person does the same thing. Oh, have you heard? Oh, you haven't heard yet? You don't know? Really? Well, I know. How come you don't know? So I am going to be the special person who tells you, you know, and again, but it's confidential. Don't tell anybody. You know, so again, we use things to show off. It's rather subtle. So next time you catch yourself sharing something with a person which you shouldn't share, you look in your heart and you will see, yes, I want to increase my importance by sharing this confidential information. You know, it's so subtle that usually we miss it. We don't even identify it. Yes. Okay, then the next category is debate. Debating, which is, we can say, a more serious and, yeah, more serious way of arguing, you know. And the special thing is in debate is really that people don't want to hear. They only want to get their point across and establish that they know better and that they are right. So again, it's a whole false ego battle. Very contaminating. Maybe you have been in a situation like this. Very often these things happen over the internet. That somebody says something about yourself or a situation, and so many people read it, and then you think, well, I have to comment on this, otherwise everybody thinks this is true, right? So, all right, then we make our little comment there. And then the other side twists it all around, makes a weapon out of it, boom, shoots it back at us. And then again we think, well, if I am quiet, then everybody thinks it's right, you know? And like that, it goes on and on and on. Have you ever been in that situation? Yes. It's so contaminating. You can feel how all this agitation is increasing in your heart, and you can't stop thinking about it, and it goes in circles in your mind when you want to chant your japa. And you know, whenever something goes in circles in our mind, it's a sign of the false ego harassing us. And all this anger and aggression builds up, you know, it's the contaminating effect of the false ego. So devotees should not get involved in this. You know, if somebody says something, Hare Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, finished, no need to answer anything else, you know, better to pull out, let people think what they want to think, you know, but no, don't get involved in it. It's so contaminating, really. Yeah. And I mean, during the pandemic, I don't know what it was like in India, but in Europe, there was this debate going on about vaccination, you know, for vaccination, against vaccination. Oh, you know, I didn't even know, because I'm not on social media, but people told me that in some communities, there was really, the community was split in half, 2 camps, you know, for vaccination, against vaccination. Both sides thought they know the absolute truth and they have to save the world and they have to convince everybody that they are right, sending each other's links and, you know, and then criticizing senior devotees, gurus who got vaccinated, who did not get vaccinated. Oh my God, so many offenses were made. And that's when I realized, yes, Prabhupada is right. Prajalpa, it will destroy this movement. Yes, I could see it. Even 1 year after the whole pandemic finished, still, some communities, the relationships were not repaired, even 1 year afterwards. Yes, so much negativity was created, and misunderstandings and damaged relationships, and you know, and unfortunately a similar thing is happening now over this war in Ukraine. I used to be very involved in Ukraine for the last 25 years. I was going there and spending a lot of time there. So now, of course, I'm not going. I'm not courageous enough to go. But yeah, this war topic, you know, between the Russian and Ukrainian devotees, who is right, who is wrong? Is Putin a good guy or a bad guy? Oh my God, you know. So many damages are made, offenses, relationships are spoiled, and, you know, pained hearts, and all this is going on, you know. And because let's remember, on the absolute platform of my relationship with Krishna, is this war important? No, it's not. At the moment of death, as we said, show is over, curtain is closing. Who cares, you know, about the war, about vaccination? Has no significance whatsoever, you know. So if we get into all these things, you know, it's such a waste of time. It's Prajalpa, completely destroying our cultivation of bhakti. Yes. I remember a couple of years ago, I visited Moldova, which is bordering on Ukraine. So it's pretty close there to the war. And many Ukrainian devotees live there, and so on. So we had a discussion on the same topic. And because it's so close to the war, I was elaborating a little bit more how devotees should not talk about these things. And what happened? As soon as I finished the class, one bhakta came up to me. So, mtji, what are you thinking about the war? Haven't we just talked about it? That there's no need to talk about these things? You know, and who cares what I think? Does it make any difference what I think? No, it doesn't. You know, so no need to talk about these things. Yeah. So then the next one is fault finding. I think we are all pretty good at that. finding faults in others. Definitely comes from envy. We are trying to, again, reduce a person's importance by finding some fault and trying to establish ourselves in a superior position. Right? So now, interestingly, even if it is true that this person has a fault, and we all have faults, even if it is true, but just the fact that we want to talk about it means we are envious. Yeah. Let us imagine a situation from everyday life in an ISKCON temple. Let us imagine a visiting preacher comes, gives a class, and then a friend of ours says afterwards, "Oh, that was a nice class, wasn't it?" And then we say, "Yes, it was all right, but," and we find something, "but it was not so shastric. He didn't quote so many verses." We find something just to put him down. And in other words, we say, if I had given the class, I would have quoted so many more verses. That's what we indirectly say. And yeah, even if it is true that he did not quote so many verses, still, just the fact that we feel this urge to make this statement shows we are envious. And very often we miss this point, because the contaminated intelligence will find all the justifications why I can say this. It's true after all. So am I not allowed to speak the truth? I'm just sharing with my friend my experience in the class. What's wrong with that? Freedom of speech, modern India. Can't we say what's true? Like that we justify, but no, it's envy. Yes. Yeah, so all very subtle, so we have to be very careful. That's why we see our great sadhus, they never talk bad about devotees. It's not that they don't see the faults. Of course we see them. But why talking about it? What good does it do? It only magnifies the negativity, right? It makes it even bigger by talking about it. So it will not help that person. It will not uplift us. It will not uplift the person who hears it. It's only contaminating, right? But again, we may be in a situation where we, with as another leader or caregiver, we may have to identify a problem, but it is in the mood of well-wishing, wanting to help that person, and not just to anybody. Sounds like we are getting a few sweets here. I can hear some mobile phones ringing. Yeah, so this fault-finding mentality, it is so contaminating, so poisonous. Yeah. Actually, our previous Acharya, Sridhar Swami, he says, whether it is true or not, talking about faults of a devotee means to blaspheme him. Yeah. So we know the first offense, to blaspheme devotees. So yes, yeah, that's why we don't make as quickly progress as we could, because we are committing that first and foremost offense, yes, the mad elephant offense, to blaspheme the devotees, yes. Even if it is true that he has the fault. Yeah. Next one is speaking falsehoods, meaning fake news, creating fake news. rumors, again, comes from envy, just to cause that person some problem. We talk bad about him, create some rumors there about him which have no substance at all, just to create some tension, some conflict, and I mean, out there in the material world, it seems like it's some people's main occupation, to put all kinds of fake videos in the net and create some confusion and conflict and play one against the other and all this kind of stuff, And this easily enters our communities too, that if we don't like somebody, we talk some bad thing about them, which has no foundation even, Yes. And then the other one is to blaspheme devotees. So we have already touched upon that. So there's so many ways how we can blaspheme devotees, right? And the last category is worldly talk. Simply talking, about all kinds of knowledge, categories of knowledge maybe, which we, so many phones are going off there. We will have a whole feast of sweets. Yes, talking about all kinds of categories of knowledge which we don't connect with preaching, with Krishna consciousness. Like some faculties of knowledge we can nicely connect, like biology, astrology, or what else do we have? Archaeology, But then if we just get a kick out of getting into mathematics, showing off what we all know and discussing and so this is also Prajalpa, right? Yes. Yeah, so this is basically the list Bhaktivinoda Thakur is giving us. And going through this hopefully makes us more conscious of how detrimental Prajalpa is, how much of our talk is falling into this category, because often when we hear Prajalpa, we simply think about gossiping or something, but that is only one kind. There's so many other kinds there, right? So now, before we open up for questions, I do want to share one more important aspect of Vaishnava etiquette, which we often don't follow. That whenever there is some disagreement on higher levels, either in our own community, amongst the leaders, or in Bangalore about on different temple leaders, or more global in ISKCON on the level of the GBCs. There's always so many things going on, controversial topics and this and that. So whenever we find ourselves in the situation that we hear about these things, we should not discuss them. We should not get involved. We should not take sides. We should not pass judgments on people, on the situations, because we don't know what actually is going on higher levels. We can't see. We don't have the full picture, right? It's outside of our circle of influence. So no need for us to talk about these things, because if we pass judgments, guaranteed we will commit Vaishnava aparad, because we don't have the full picture. Yeah. So this is very important, because it is again just another form of Prajalpa. If we get all into discussing these things, which we have no deeper insights, Yes. So often people are coming to me, oh, Mataji, what do you think about this and that and this and that? Well, who anymore. And then I took one more time, reinitiation, even though philosophically it's not absolutely necessary, but I wanted to be under discipline and firm control of somebody. So I took one more time reinitiation of His Holiness Niranjan as well. So if we have firm faith in Prabhupada, this will not bewilder us. You know, yes, it has never really damaged my faith in Krishna consciousness. No, it has actually increased my faith because, well, very clearly, time will tell. We can't fool Krishna, right? Yeah, we may be able to fool devotees around us, but we can't fool Krishna. Sooner or later, things come out. So that's a powerful sign how the process of devotional service really works. You know, yes. So if we have firm faith in Prabhupada, nothing can shake us. You know, yes. So, and this Prajalpa is destroying our faith. Doesn't matter how much we care for devotees. Actually, Narendra Swami defines devotee care as protecting and nourishing a devotee's faith in Prabhupada. That's the essence of devotee care. Yeah. If we nourish that faith, as I said, a devotee can survive anything. But if we simply emotionally, materially care for people, sooner or later Krishna will send some test. And if that faith is not there, the person will leave. Doesn't matter how much we try to care for the person. So it's all about faith. Yeah. So, and if we want to protect our faith, we have to stay away from Prajalpa. Yeah. And we have to follow the Vaishnava etiquette of not taking sides and pass judgments on things which are above our heads. Huh? Derive subtle pleasure out of these things. Yes. All right. So maybe before we see if there's any questions, let me say a few words about these books, because I hope that some of you will be eager to get them. Let me explain to you. Now we have actually only one sample of each copy left. I had over 100 books. They already flew out the first day. But what we do is, I have a whole list of orders. So people put their name and phone number down, they tick which books they want. They pay me already up front if you trust me, and I'll send more books from Mayapur. So it only takes about 10 days and the box is there and everybody gets their books. Yes. So that's why you don't see any books on the book table. On our first program, the first Bhagavatam class, I had a proper book table. But already after that, on Friday morning, so many books were going out. You know, so yesterday evening, I got a whole list of over 60 orders, you know, and all the rest of the books flew out. So yeah, but still it's the book table there. So spiritual culture, Krishna's divine system. Some of you may have seen this book. When I came 6 years ago, this was the only book I had published. So meanwhile, you have constructed your beautiful temple, and I've been pretty busy publishing 4 more books. So spiritual culture, this is all about the man-woman nature's qualities, that man, woman are not the same, they're not equal. The equality is happening on the level of the soul, but on the level of the body, very, very different, no equality. So we are a bit confused over this because the propaganda of equality is so strong. So we women are actually very powerful. in many ways, we are superior to the men, but we are meant to use our Shakti to empower the men and not to compete with them. Yes. Maybe you noticed that the men don't like it so much when we women compete. Yeah. Have you noticed that? Yes. And usually the men are always very happy to hear that. Yes. So every woman who wants to have harmonious relationships with men in her life, not only with her husband, but even in dealings in the community or at work in your office, if you're working, you better read this book. You will find a few interesting points there which will make your relationships more harmonious. Actually, it has saved a lot of marriages already. Yeah, because we women are very powerful. If we do the right thing, usually everything falls into its place, you know. But we have the power to destroy everything and create havoc. Prabhupada says it in the Bhagavatam. So that's the power of a woman, you know. And every man who wants to get the support and empowerment of a woman can also read this book. In fact, in many temples, they use this book as a handbook for brahmachari training. Yeah. Even though the whole book is about women. But the men also have to know woman's role. And there's all the hot issues in this book. Women being guru, women giving class, women leading kirtan, women this, women that, and so many other things. So yeah, I'm trying to give a balanced presentation. And whatever I learned in Bangladesh. Actually, when I joined in Australia, I was one of these more feministically inclined women who made all the big revolutions that the women can do this and the women can do that. You know, that's the background I'm coming from, growing up in Germany, of course. That's what you learn there, you know. So, and then over 25 years of preaching in Bangladesh, that's where I learned, where I realized, okay, actually, Krishna's system is a little different, and civilized and cultured life should be led in a different way. You know? Yes. Okay, so sheltering relationships. This is all about the importance of having a counselor. That just Diksha Shiksha Guru, not enough. We need a well-wishing friend who is more experienced. And we need that on a regular basis, who can guide us, who we want to be corrected by, who can show us how to move forward step by step. If we don't have that, easily we stay in our comfort zone and we become stagnant. And we can come here on Sunday morning every week for 30 years, but nothing changes in our life, nothing transforms. You know? Yes. Very important topic. Also, the topic of envy is in this book, how envy manifests towards seniors equals juniors. Topic of correcting others, culture of respect, so many important things. And of course, all the books are based on Prabhupada. I'm trying to make a little more accessible, practically accessible, what Prabhupada says. You know? Yes. Like now, I'm just now getting the next book ready on the topic of Vanaprastha ashram. It's not established. It's the forgotten ashram. Even though the Bhagavatam is full of strong statements, and people read the Bhagavatam 1, 2, 3, 4 times, the whole Bhagavatam, but yet they don't realize, hey, I'm 55, I'm 60, I'm meant to move on to the next ashram, even though it's all in the Bhagavatam. So, and that's my point. You know, we need some literature in between to make it more accessible. What Prabhupada actually says. You know? Yeah, I can't wait to get that book out, but it's not ready yet. the false ego, our constant companion and troublemaker. So we started Friday morning, the seminar will continue tomorrow morning and Tuesday morning. Of course, the whole seminar is 10 hours. That's how I give it in my report. So, but in the book, you will get even more than what I can give in 10 hours. There's so many things in it. It's all very subtle, the false ego, easily we miss it. We can feed and boost the false ego very nicely, all in the name of Krishna consciousness, instead of subduing and dissolving it, massaging each other's false egos and all these kind of things. And there's also a whole chapter on chanting the holy name, how we are meant to chant. It's like a summary of a holy name retreat. Yes, because kirtan can be the opportunity to show off and feed our egos, right? Yes. So yeah, good combination, a holy name and false ego. And then we have entering the grihastashram. How to do it, how better not to do it. This is a handbook for matchmaking. We need a bit of help here in India with the matchmaking. People only look at caste and money, right? Yes. They don't even consider all the other devotional levels of compatibility. And then the worst thing is that they don't give the boy and the girl enough time to talk about things. On my travels around the world, I meet so many unhappy, mismatched couples from Indian families. And when I ask them, my God, why did you guys get married? Oh, our parents put us together. That's the standard answer. And then I ask them, so how much time did you spend to talk about things? Oh, we only met once, 20 minutes in the temple room. Oh, how can you make a lifetime decision like this? In this book, you will find a list of 200 topics which a boy and a girl should discuss in the presence of a parent, a matchmaker, a counselor. We have to talk about things. Even if when you buy a computer, I think you will spend more than 20 minutes, right? Looking at different options and models and what do you need and what is important to you and. So what to speak of getting married, it's an important thing. And this list I have included is not my list coming from Germany, but it is coming from Bhaktivedanta Manor in London, which has a huge Indian community. So it is for people from India, just to make this clear, that it's not some modern Western thing or something. Yes, so please, let's educate ourselves, because the divorce rate in India is going up. And very often people after 4 or 5 months of marriage, they get already divorced. Why? Because then they realize we are from a different planet. We have nothing in common. We have different goals. We can't even talk to each other. And then see, in former times, people were sticking with a marriage, even if it was suffering from day number 1. People were thinking, okay, this is what the Lord arranged. Divorce did not exist, but now things have changed. People get divorced. They don't have that commitment to stick to an arrangement, which is suffering number 1, yes. So we have to fine tune our matchmaking. Otherwise, what happens is that people don't want to get married. I meet so many girls, they're 35, 37, still not married because they're afraid. They see how it's done and they're afraid. Or people say, I want the love marriage, which is the last marriage. Doesn't sound so romantic anymore. Also not the solution. That's what we do in the West. And that's how the divorce also goes up, because after 2 years, when when the pink glasses of love are fading, then you realize, oh, why did I marry this person? See, that's why I made the book pink, because of the pink glasses. Yes. Anyway, important book for all those who are not married yet, for parents, for senior devotees, matchmakers, counselors. You know, I don't know if you have a matchmaking committee here or something. Every community needs this, you know. Yes. Last but not least, family life as an ashram, secrets of success. How to actually create this culture of bhakti in the home. Not every married devotee's home we can call a place suitable for cultivating bhakti. It needs a bit of transformation. We have to change, you know, our lifestyle habits and so many things. You know, it's so very practical. Again, it's all in the Bhagavatam mainly, but yeah, people overread things and don't realize. Yes. So there's so many things, starting off with choosing your residency and form of income. And what is the fact if a woman has a full-time career working outside? We better educate ourselves what effect it has. And then we can make a decision what we want to invite into our life. But if we don't know even, you know, then easily we go along with all the modern trends, you know. And there's also a whole chapter on physical intimacy in marriage. How to live this principle of no illicit sex life in marriage. There is a bit of a confusion. Nobody talks about it, especially here in India. And everybody is at a loss how to make things work. And people are worried, or maybe I break my initiation vows and. So I did quite a bit of research, and I came across interesting instructions and episodes with Prabhupada, which hardly anybody has heard. And that adds a whole different perspective to the whole topic. So yes, I hope this book will make our family life more Krishna conscious and yet emotionally balanced and healthy. And if our home life is like that, then the children will very naturally take up Krishna consciousness, you know, if that culture of bhakti is there in the home. But if it's not there, and it's just rules, you have to chant, you can't do this, you know, then kids will not be interested to accept this, you know. Yeah. So now, if anybody of you wants some books, the last 3 books are $3.50 each, only rupees, not euros or something. And the first 2 are 300 each. Whole set 1,650. And you can pay by card, not card, QR code, or in cash. And as I described, you can't have this now because I still have a few programs and I need them to take orders. But you put your name down, and in about 10 days, maximum 2 weeks, you will get it. Okay, so 10 o'clock sharp. What do we do now? Do you want to continue a little bit with some question and answer? Or are you all dying to take prasadam and running out here? You know, or shall we look at the book table now? The book table without books? Or what's your suggestion? Prabhu, tell us, what do we do? Okay, so let's go back to Prajalpa. Who would like to ask some questions? Without talking Prajalpa.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you so much for the wonderful class and a very sensitive topic. The question I had was, Mataji, we are, as Grihasthas, we are in a precarious situation itself, considering the fact that, you know, we have our jobs, we have to interact with people, in our jobs. And the second part is considering that we are in a family, so we have our relatives also who are not so connected. So we have to deal with, and we have to interact with, not deal, but interact with them as well. So to a certain extent, to keep them talking and to keep them interested, to keep them connected, so we have to deal with them. Now, where do we draw a line? That was my question.
Okay. Well, yeah, good that this question comes up, because even also in preaching, sometimes we may have to start off with a little bit of small talk, you know. But then, well, we have to become expert of somehow connecting the topics with Krishna consciousness, you know, no matter whether it's in preaching or with relatives or whatnot, you know. So of course, yeah, here in India, people often live with their parents and so on. A little more difficult than in the Western world, people just try to live separately, you know. So, well, I guess if we have strong sadhana, you know, Prabhupada was saying, inject the blood with KC drug. So, which means sadhana. If we have good sadhana and we create a good atmosphere of Krishna consciousness in the home, even a little thing, which I'm describing in the family book, just establishing the habit of 10-15-minute kirtan every evening with all the family members. It works wonders. Yeah. Just such a little thing. 15-minute kirtan in the evening. Very powerful. Yeah. Yet it's not so easy to really implement, because we have to show what's important to us, you know. So many secrets of success in family life, they're actually very simple, but yet they're so difficult to apply, because Krishna gives us this little bit more independence, and we have to make the choice. What is most important to us? Do we want to just sit on the internet in the evenings, or do we want to get the family together and have a little kirtan? You know? Yes. So, you know, if you live there with your parents or in-laws, oh, well, too bad. Now it's kirtan time, you know. So they will get some purification, some upliftment. So we have to make a double the effort to really create a spiritual environment in the home, you know. Yeah, the culture of kirtan, culture of puja, culture of reading to each other, and. So then our family life, we can call it an ashram, a place for cultivating bhakti. But if all these things are not there, you know, then also very difficult to make advancement, you know. Yes. What else? Yeah, but just to add, a little bit of small talk we may have to go along with, you know, just to keep the relationships. We can't be too fanatic, or sorry, that's Prajalpa, I'm not going to talk about this. But we just have to be expert to always bring things back and connect with Krishna in the picture. You know? Yes. All right. And what else? Yes.
Hare Krishna Maji, thank you for the nice class. My question was related to the teenage. Like me being in teenage, it is more common that we do gossip at times. And the topic of Prajalpa is quite normal, or it is quite daily. So, I mean, how do you refrain from this? It's to
For
fit in.
teenagers, but are you a teenager?
Yes.
You are? Really?
Yeah.
You look so grown up and mature. Well, there's no different process for teenagers, you know. It's just a matter of absorbing our minds in spiritual activities to reduce our time on social media. You know, social media is a time thief. It steals all our time, and you know, 90% of it is all unnecessary and nonsense and criticism and gossip, and you know, oh yes. So yeah, I mean, best not to have a phone. That's what I always recommend, but hardly anybody can do it. I very rarely meet anybody who doesn't have a phone. And I'm traveling all around the world, you know, so people are amazed. Well, how do you do it without a phone? Oh, yeah. Yeah, so you have to become super cool and not have a phone. And I mean, just see, it's just a matter of spending your time in a meaningful way, you know, and not just wasting time, not doing anything meaningful. Do some service, read, take care of other devotees, and serve elderly people. And you know, there's so many meaningful ways to engage oneself, and then we get get some deeper satisfaction. We get a higher taste, you know, and then all this small talk and gossip and wasting time, yeah, becomes so useless and tasteless, you know.
Thank you, Mataji.
What else?
Mataji, if
Yeah, so talk into the microphone, please.
Shiva, what makes the world look so real?
I think I explained that, no? But there's two kinds of realities. The flickering, temporary reality of this world, and eternal reality, which is my relationship with Krishna. That's eternal reality. Whereas everything else, curtain is closing, flow is over. Huh?
I didn't understand.
What? Why it looks so real? Is that your
What
question?
makes the world look so real?
Well, it's Maya. Our identification with the body, thinking that we are this temporary body. We forget that we are eternal soul, and that we have an eternal relationship with Krishna. So it's simply ignorance, Maya.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
We take a last question here. Who had a question?
It better be a good one.
not sure about that one. Question is like,
Just speak properly in the mic.
suppose if we find our friend who is taking wrong guidance from some senior devotee, or the senior devotee is envious and guiding them wrongly, can we tell about that senior devotee to our friend? Does it fall under Prajalpa, like, or any wrong association also? If someone is taking, can we tell about it?
Well, we have to be careful to judge senior devotees. You know, we may think that senior devotee gives the wrong guidance, but who are we to pass some judgment like that? You know, we can't judge senior devotees. Maybe it's our wrong perception, you know?
Suppose we have bad experiences.
well, we may have bad experience because of our false ego blocking us and harassing us. You know, maybe there's nothing wrong with that senior devotee, but maybe it's our issues why we had some bad experience. We were not willing to hear, you know. So we can't judge senior devotees. No, definitely not. We should never ever say anything about senior devotees which, you know, reduces a person's faith in that person. Let's say a newcomer has faith in a devotee who's been around for 20 years, you know, and the newcomer says, oh, this devotee is so nice, he really inspires me. So even if we may know some issues about the senior devotee, you know, we may know, oh, actually, he's not that fantastic, you know, but we are not meant to say this. As long as the senior person plays the role of inspiring a devotee to follow the process of Krishna consciousness, he's doing his job. So no need for us to come, oh, by the way, he's not that good. I know something that you maybe don't know. I had that experience with him. No, that's really detrimental, you know, really detrimental. So then we say, oh, yeah, nice. Yeah, I'm happy to hear that he inspires you. Yeah, he is a nice devotee. Even if we know he's got so many faults, we just talked about it. Talking about faults of a devotee, whether it's true or not, means to blaspheme. Yeah, we do these things all the time, you know. Maybe even after this session, we don't realize, you know. Yes, we have to be very careful. But let me also add one more thing. Let me add one more thing. If we do see something very alarming on a higher level, something harmful and alarming, what do we do? What's the etiquette? Yeah, we report it to that person senior. It's not that we just shut up and are quiet and we don't know anything. But no, if it is alarming and harmful, we have to report it. And then we've done our job, you know, then it's up to them to take it further. Or maybe it is our distorted perception, you know, maybe we are imagining everything. So that is up to them to judge. So we are not meant to follow up now, or they still haven't done anything, or what is happening, and blah, 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 blah. No, we've done our job, and that's it, finished. You know, and I mean, over the 40 years, I've reported quite a few things, believe it or not. We have all different, you know, committees, sannyas committee, this committee, that committee, child protection, this, that, you know, so that there's all different channels how we can report things. And very often from the lower level, we see more than from the higher level. So it's our duty to report, you know? Yeah, but we don't confront that person. We don't gossip. We can go to our mentor, our counselor, and reveal our heart. That is a different thing. That's not Prajalpa, you know, because we are coming with a genuine interest of getting some clarity, you know, and if we have some doubts about a senior person or something, so we can go to the counselor, and let's hope that person has enough training how to deal with it. Okay. All right. So we'll leave it at that. Thank you so much for your kind attention. Srila Prabhupada ki, Swami Vivekananda ki. Gaura Premanandi. Hari Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna.
So, and whoever wants some books, please come after the announcement immediately to the table and let's work it out.
Hare Krishna. So let us all express our deep gratitude from the bottom of our heart and to Mataji, and as well we had Chaitanya Prasad Prabhu doing the Kannada translation by loudly chanting once Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Few sponsors we had. So we have two sponsors on the last day of Kartik. We did not announce, but we are going to announce them now, and would request them also to come forward and accept the prasadam. We also have one sponsor for today. So the two sponsors we had for the last day of Kartik was we had Sarva Pavani Sachi Mataji and the family had sponsored. We have Mataji here. Sarva Pavani Sachi Mataji is not here today. We have Srinivas Korlimpalli Prabhu, who had sponsored prasadam and was seeking blessings for his friend Suresh Saguturu, who had got brain stroke a few days ago. And also he was requesting blessings for his daughter Anvita's birthday. So we request Prabhuji to, you can request Mataji to hand over the prasadam to Prabhuji. Mataji, can we request, we request also Anand Priyadarshi Gupta Prabhu. Do we have Anand Prabhu here? So we do not have Prabhu here. We will hand over the prasadam. So these devotees are requesting prayers and blessings from this assembly. So let us all once loudly chant Hare Krishna mantra for these wonderful families. Hare Krishna.